Hello everyone. I just wanted to stop in today and give a quick amateur tabletop review of the Diamondback new DB9FS. It's a full-size 9mm pistol that Diamondback just came out with. Kind of caught everyone by surprise, caught me by surprise. I didn't hear much on it or of it until I saw it for sale. So didn't have much to go on as far as if I wanted to purchase one or not, and decided to take a chance and wanted to give a quick review for anyone else who may be interested in purchasing one. So this is the case it comes in. Pretty cool, slim, clamshell type case. Nothing extraordinary here. This is just like you would unbox it yourself. This is everything that came in the box. Paperwork, lock, may or may not use that, and the pistol itself. Note, one magazine only. Function check. Good deal. So I guess we'll start out with some specs. For one thing, street price when I bought this was under $400. That alone right there was kind of something that was really interesting. It's a 4.7-inch barrel, double action striker fired. Holds 15 rounds. Has some pretty cool low profile type Novak sights. Really aggressive CNC machining. It may not be CNC. It could be some form of whatever. I don't know, but it's very aggressive. Very aggressive. They have quite the edge on these machining what's the word I'm looking for? Serrations. You'll see what I mean if you ever hold and pick up one of those in person. Almost too much of an edge. I hate to say that, but you'll see what I mean. Some nice finger grooves down here at the base of the grip to help get the magazine out for any reason that it gets jammed in there. That's a nice little touch. I mean, it's a pretty good looking firearm. That's another thing that drew me to it. It is a very interesting, decent looking firearm. Magazine release, stiff, but not too easy. Mag doesn't really jump out of there, but gets out of there good enough. It'll be good enough for government work. Let's see. I have had some issue with the magazine release, or I'm sorry, the slide release. It doesn't seem to really jump all the way. Let me see if I can get that on camera. Up into the groove for me, and has been kind of difficult to operate when trying to release a slide with the actual slide release. For those who do the preferred release and race, that's fine. Works great every time. But for whatever reason, mine has sometimes not locked back on an empty mag. And when it has, it's kind of not really doing it now, but it would give me issues. It would kind of catch on the frame. I'd have to use two thumbs to push down on it, which isn't a deal breaker, especially if you slingshot. But if you don't slingshot and you kind of like to use the slide release, that can be cumbersome, at least for this brand new model that just came out. Moving on. The DB9FS has a lot of features that could be found on other popular black polymer pistols. Let's start from, I guess, the top. Good sights. If you notice, this is a loaded chamber indicator. It is not exposed. This is for sight only, basically a peephole. So you can view inside and see if there is a chamber or a round loaded in the chamber. Moving on back, you may notice something here. That would be a striker cocked indicator. Something to indicate that the striker's cocked, whatever you want to call that. You may have noticed that on another pistol like the XD or XDM. In order to disassemble this, it takes down very similar to the Big Bad Glock. Let's go ahead and do that. And sometimes I have problems with this, but bear with me. So there's the frame. Very slender, very lightweight, full-length rail. That's nice. The trigger is all metal, so that's pretty cool. It does look thin, but all metal, so hopefully it should withstand abuse, but there's no telling really until people get out there and shoot thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, right? Some nice frame rails there. Pretty full length. I'm not expert enough to disseminate any further information going on here. If for those more knowledgeable, this is just a picture for you to check out and see what's going on. Tell you what, let's go ahead and get this case out of the way. Looks very much like a Gen 3 Glock underneath here, especially with the captured recoil spring here. Kind of nifty. Go ahead and try and give everybody a good view of what's going on here. Front sight is a Glock style sight. If you have a Glock, you know what I'm talking about. So another thing to notice was the feed ramp on my barrel came very highly polished. Looks to be hand polished. I have one of the first kind of production units, so yours may or may not come out like this. It also goes to show you that maybe they were having feeding issues from the factory, which would be something to keep your eye on. Again, I don't know enough to really comment too much on the barrel. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty nice. Moving on. So I went and shot it. I did about 350 rounds or so through it. I'm glad to report that it functioned everything perfectly. It cycled every type of ammo I put through it. I put, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types, or 5 different types of ball, and 4 different types of defensive ammunition through it. Cycled it all without a hiccup. So that's great news, especially for a Diamondback, especially for the fact that it's a new gun. Brand new to the market. So I shot some 124 grain 9mm Aguila, some 115 grain Gecko, 115 grain Herders, 124 grain Blazer, 115 grain Monarch brass, not steel case. Kind of wish I would have tried. Didn't shoot any steel case because it's always the best test, worst case scenario for ammunition through a gun. If it runs brass case, or steel cased, it'll typically run anything. I also put, let's see, for the defensive ammunition, 115 grain critical defense, 135 grain critical duty, 124 grain plus P HST, 124 grain plus P plus Spear Gold Dot, loaded from Underwood. Ran it all great. Accuracy was good. I was with you know, for me, I'm not a professional shooter, but I do shoot the occasional GSSF matches somewhat competitively, and it grouped well. I'm not going to comment too much because obviously I'm used to shooting my Glock 19 and very much used to that trigger. And anytime for me, I get used to a new trigger system, it takes a lot of shooting for me to really get proficient and up to speed with it, I guess you'd say. Anyways, it grouped well. Recoil was good. I do prefer, a personal opinion, the grip angle of the Glock 19. I feel I can get into it a little bit more. The DB9FS, the DB9 is a more slender kind of upright grip, something that you might see it feel more akin to a 1911 as far as the angle of your grip and your wrist. Let's see. So one of the cool things is that the Diamondback always does good with their pistols is making them slim, trim, lightweight, low bore axis, kind of real nice and tidy pistols. And this no exception for this for the DB9. It is very slender. It's actually we'll get back to that in just a second. I'll do a head-to-head comparison with the G19. Very slender, very thin. Minimal material through the slide. Has a good look and a good feel to it. So that's great. One thing I'm disappointed in is the grip length. Seeing that it held 15 rounds, I was really hoping it was going to be more along the lines of a G19 as far as grip length. That would make it easier to conceal, nicer to conceal. You know, the G19 is right on that edge for most people. That is for them. You know, a good compromise between a short grip length that conceals well, doesn't poke out the back of your shirt, but has you know, enough firepower to get you where you need to go and keep you safe and all that good stuff. It's for the DB9FS, they get making it so slender, they have created the magazine is longer. So I'll do a quick little comparison between a G19 magazine and the DB9 mag. You can kind of notice right off the bat, the DB9 mag is taller but more slender. The G19 mag is shorter and fatter. Here's another interesting comparison. A G17 magazine, or 34, whatever floats your boat, holds 17 rounds, holds 15 rounds. Nearly identical heights. So that's kind of crappy, I guess you'd say. I would have preferred a shorter grip, easier concealability grip on the DB9FS. The grip feels great. Just for me, that limits it to a cold weather concealed carry, or a bedside gun, car gun, something like that. So who knows? Maybe they'll come out with a flush fitting mag that holds a couple rounds less. That may help out a little bit, or I don't know, something along those lines. But if I'm choosing to carry a firearm of this size, the G19 or the G17 is only a couple ounces more weight, if at all, and holds 2 more rounds. So that's worth noting. The trigger is pretty nice, and also reminds you of another similar black polymer pistol, aka Glock. Double action, only striker fired. You have your initial take up, and it kind of pushes and creeps till it breaks about 5.5 pounds. Reset is nice. I had no problem shooting double taps, triple taps, shooting quickly. All around a very respectable factory trigger. If you shoot a lot of Glocks, you're going to be pretty familiar with this trigger. I'll say that. The reset doesn't have quite the reset on Glocks has more spring rate to it, I guess you'd say. Has more push against your finger. The DB9 is a little bit lighter against your finger resetting, which I think I prefer, but for no good reason, I guess you'd say. Let's see. Quality isn't exactly what you would expect, or I wouldn't say expect, up to par with some other black polymer pistols. You get some like slide play here, which could just be the flexing of the lower here, I guess. But the slide and how it rides on the frame rails, there's some play there. There's more play there than my G19 or G26. But those are also shorter slides, so maybe that could be a factor. I guess I'll go ahead and